Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lunchtime with Detroit Lions Talk. It's brought to you today by the Detroit Lions on the Prowl. And today we're talking about, a lot of different things still again today. Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, if they're fired, is it at the end of the season? Is it a complete rebuild? Trade line went by and we did nothing. What's next? Is a rebuild coming? We'll talk about that. The doctor is in today to talk about the injury situation for Trey Flowers and a couple other people. So we'll get that going today. We have dessert. We have the question of the day, and all that's coming to you in a little bit. Let me bring in my partner in crime right now, the man of steel, Kurt Steele.
What up, though? Hey, welcome to the program. I appreciate you checking us out. Jim and I really appreciate everything you do for our show. The comments, we really appreciate it. And doing us that big favor of watching the videos all the way to the end so it improves our YouTube algorithm and brings our content to more Lions fans just like yourself. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you know when you're getting fresh content from us right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. It's time to start the show right now. Hey, welcome back to the show. We appreciate your comments from yesterday. So to get that started, Jim, it's on you, brother.
Hey, thanks everybody for giving the comments on there. Liked a lot of them. I picked out a few of them from the comments from yesterday, and we'll talk about them. Some of them anyway. John Kapler says, well, I'm thinking 7-9, just enough to beat other bad teams, but good teams would get cooked like Thanksgiving bird. I'm like, yeah, man.
Everything.
But he's right. This is the thing that I really get upset about this. And this is the thing I'm going to rant just a second on, because I am so sick and tired of just making the playoffs and getting walloped. I want to be a contender. If we were going to buy this year and we're trying to just make it to being a contender for the playoffs or getting in the first round, that's not good enough for me. No. It just isn't. We were 9-7. We were knocking on the playoffs door every year. We were in the playoffs and getting beat. This is the same thing that we were trying to accomplish with Caldwell and already did accomplish. So we bring Patricia in to get us up over that hump, and he buried us under that hill. I just don't like this at all.
That hill in Allen Park, that's where we're buried. Right underneath that hill they built in Allen Park. You can run up and down us. Moving on. Luke G, and it's to me directly, he says, thank you for the shout out. No problem, my man Luke G. You know you always hold it down for us over there at the DSA. And one more prime time B. You don't need a clock to know what time it is. Ooh, I like that one.
You know, it's like the president has this big red button.
Yeah,
it's time to hit it.
Reset. Blow that thing up. But I get it.
Blow it up.
That's our comment cards. We appreciate you, and keep listening or watching right here on this show so you can get the question of the day later on in the program. But now it is time for some bite-sized nuggets. Yum. So Jim, go ahead and break them off, some bite-sized nuggets.
Okay, we got 3 of them today. Jared Davis goes to the COVID-19 list, and Dr. Jimmy Liao will have a whole thing about that. So stay tuned for that segment. Darrell Bevell challenged tight end TJ Hawkinson a couple weeks ago to get better separation from defenders. Really? Come on, man. None of our guys get separation. Marvin Jones don't. Galladay don't, who you want to pay so much money to.
Yeah.
None of these guys get separation. And you're going to pick on Hawkinson. You may
need a new wide receivers coach or something. I don't know. Or
I think you need a new OC.
Yeah,
that's what I think. I want to challenge the OC to
challenge you to call better plays. How about that?
There you go. That's what I was thinking. There you go. Okay, congratulations to Miles Killebrew, who became a father recently. Who's very happy to see Killebrew have the game he had last week. He had special teams tackle and the first blocked punt since 2007.
Yeah, that new father and that new father smell, that gets you, boy. Get you pumped up.
Does that blow your mind? 2007?
Yeah, that's quite a long time. And we've had
13 years without a blocked punt.
We've had some decent special teams. It's just, maybe one of those things where it wasn't in the cards, but congratulations to him, man. That's big. That's big deal. I'm a father too. So, my babies is my babies. They grown now, but, being a father is one of the best things to happen.
Yes, it is. I can attest to that too in my own life. So
yeah.
And now it's time for one of my favorite segments, and it's becoming one of my favorite segments. One-on-one with the great one over here. I can't do that because it's all backwards for me.
Okay.
Kurt Steele and me in a food fight. Let's go. Okay, so what's the topic today? The topic is, if Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn are fired at the end of the season, is this a complete rebuild? What do you think, Kurt?
It is not a complete rebuild. Here's the deal. Now, on one side of the ball, you can tear it down. You have a couple of good young pieces, but you can kind of break it down a little bit. But you have some good young talent over there on the defensive side of the ball. You have Mario Warrior. He's developing into a really good shutdown corner. You got Jeff Okuda, who probably can shift back to the safety position. You may be able to let some of those other guys go, those guys that's long in the tooth. I will keep Danny Shelton and Penasini. There are some run stuffing guys. You get them in the right system, and they can do some things. On the offensive side of the ball, keep most of the offensive line. They're playing really good. You can get rid of some of the older guys and veterans. I say with Big V, you can toss away, but skill positions, I like the skill positions. I think we need to, do some more permanent signings, but it's not a complete rebuild because we have some tools and we have some players that are good, and you just don't throw good players away. So it's not a complete
this regime
rebuild.
Doesn't mind throwing good players away.
They don't mind.
Seriously.
Yeah,
but it's a complete rebuild. And let me tell you why. It's going to be a slow rebuild. Yeah, no, it's a complete rebuild.
Okay.
It's going to be a slow rebuild. Whoever you put in places want to have their team in their image.
Mm-hmm.
This offense, we have hardly any receivers after this year. They're going to have to go out and rebuild that.
Mm-hmm.
Kerryon Johnson, he's useless except for third downs. They're going to get rid of him. Matthew Stafford, do you go with your own quarterback as the guy that you're tied to the hip with?
Yep,
that's a rebuild, man.
Oh,
so on
man,
defense,
come on, man.
on defense, they're not going to run that 3-3-5. No one in the right mind runs that anymore. So I think that's going to be a complete rebuild. We can keep Shelton. We might be able to keep Penasini, but there's people on that defense that don't fit. Other schemes, Jelani Tavai,
Oh man, that's
Christian
you throw that guy away.
Doesn't fit.
There's
a lot of players on that defense that they're going to have to change out if we want a stout defensive line and we want good linebackers. That front seven is very important to a stout defense. I think we're going to need to tear it down and build it back.
But I would say you had to tear the defense down more than the offense, but there's still some good solid pieces on that defense that you can have, because Danny Shelton is not an older guy, and Penasini, he's a rookie. And you look at Warrior. Aurorier is a second-year player, and Okuda.
What about Trey Flowers? Does he fit the defense that needs a pass rusher on the outside when he's more of a run defender and a bigger guy?
He's one of those.
The defense is too big and too slow.
You can slide.
Warrior is good. Okuda's too slow.
You can slide Flowers in.
Duron Harmon, does he fit another team?
Harmon can fit another team. He can go back to He can go back to New England.
He doesn't cover very well.
He can go back to New England, but
he can go back to New England.
But you look. I would never throw 9 away. The only way is a complete rebuild for number 9 if he has to go to a contender. But I would definitely always want to keep number 9 in a Honolulu blue and silver uniform.
Well, I mean, in a complete rebuild, rebuild of any kind, you do keep key players that are young.
Yeah, but I think it's too many pieces that we have that are good and that can take us places that
Yeah, I think we're going to get rid of a lot of people.
But Kerryon Johnson even showed his worth. He showed up on offense this week. Caught a touchdown pass. Showed up on offense. Hey, I just don't see it as a complete rebuild, but I think that there are some key pieces that need to be brought in. I agree with you on that.
I think there's some skill positions
that need to come in. But I keep DeAndre Swift. That guy has value.
Yeah, I keep
that guy. Swift. He is a good player. He gets the more opportunity.
Jesse James is useless.
Yeah. But Hawkinson, I don't get rid of that guy. That guy's
no, I don't want to get rid of him either, but you got to get him involved in the offense.
Yeah.
But I think that whomever takes over at the end of the season, because I do believe there's going to be a change. I think whoever gets that role as GM is going to want their own guys.
You know what,
Patricia did. Quandre Diggs was a good player. We got rid of him.
Oh yeah,
and that would bother me. But I'm saying they
Darius Slay. Have you seen his stats this year? He is shutting it down. Who? Darius Slay? Darius Slay is shutting it down.
In the first 3 games, he wasn't playing well.
Yeah, no. Since then, shutting it down. What is that?
We got Marcus Trufant though. So.
But you know what though? Here's the. You know what? One complete rebuild I want to see. The coaching staff rebuild their ass. Let's go.
There you go. I like Braden Coombs. I think that's the only guy that I.
That's the guy I probably would keep. The frat boy is good. I like the frat boy.
He's very good.
Yeah,
okay, so now we're going to come to the end of that segment. You decide who the winner was today in the comments below. Decide if it was Kurt, the man who steals steel, or me, Jam and Jim. Just kidding. That's not my nickname, but I'm going to make up something. And now we're going to go to the doctor, Jimmy Leal. The doctor is in. Welcome to the Detroit Lions Morning Rounds. You can also find this segment on the Detroit Lions on the Prowl YouTube channel, so check those guys out. All right, let's talk about Trey Flowers and Jared Davis. Trey Flowers injured his right arm in the game. Let's take a look at the play. Here he is, right defensive end, number 90. Bangs into the offensive lineman. Hard to see what happens, but he's hanging his right arm down after the play. You can see his right arm over there. Take a look at that again. Really impossible to see what's going on in there. But definitely some kind of right arm issue. Let's take a look at another angle. So there he is, number 90. Puts his right shoulder, arm, and elbow into the offensive lineman. Possibly his elbow gets caught there, right there. Maybe his wrist, hard to say. So here he is after the play, getting checked out by trainers. Now what you see here is they're not checking out his shoulder or his pec, so that's good. They're checking out his lower arm, possibly around the wrist or elbow area. Now he had a listed wrist injury going into the Falcons game 2 weeks ago. However, he was not on the injury report last week going into the Colts game. I think there's a pretty good chance this is a re-aggravation of an existing wrist injury. However, Matt Patricia did say on Monday that this was a new injury. If this is a new injury, it could be a wrist or elbow issue, but I still think there's a pretty good chance, based on his reaction as well as where they're examining him, that this is an aggravation of an existing wrist injury from previously. Trey Flowers is on IR, which means he's out for at least 3 weeks. Matt Patricia did not suggest that this was a season-ending injury, so that's good news. So probably some kind of mild to moderate injury to the wrist or elbow area. All right, now let's talk about Jared Davis, who was placed on the COVID reserve list today, Tuesday. I'm recording this Tuesday night. It's uncertain if he tested positive
or if he was placed on the list due to being a close contact. If he did test positive, it's also uncertain when he tested positive, whether it was the Monday morning test or the Tuesday morning test. Now, the first thing the NFL does with any positive test is to try to deem it a false positive. They rerun the original test sample as well as do a POC, which is the rapid test. If both of those are negative, then they may go ahead and deem it a false positive. So what is the procedure here at this point for Jarrad Davis? If he's symptomatic, he's out for 10 days minimum. He can't come back until he has negative tests and is asymptomatic. Now, if he tested positive and is asymptomatic, he could actually be back within 2 or 3 days if 2 negative PCR tests return 24 hours apart. So if he tests positive on a Tuesday morning, he could test negative Wednesday morning and then Thursday morning, and then return as soon as that Thursday morning test returns, which could be Thursday night, and definitely be back by Friday. So look for him to possibly be back for Friday's practice if everything goes well and best case scenario happens. Now, if he's deemed a high risk close contact and is asymptomatic, he's actually out for a minimum of 5 days, longer than if he actually tested positive. So keep an eye out for that. That might cause him to miss the Sunday's game against the Vikings, depending on when they start the clock. Now, last week, Brandon Williams of the Ravens was out for 5 days, quarantined for 5 days due to a household contact being COVID positive. So we got some precedent here. We don't know for sure why Jarrad Davis is on the COVID list. If it's a close contact, he's out for 5 days. If it's because he tested positive, he could be back within 3 days. The silver lining of Jarrad Davis testing positive is he gets a 90-day exemption from further COVID tests. So if he did test positive, he won't have to get tested for the rest of the regular season, and maybe not until the Lions go to the Super Bowl. There are other Lions who also got a 90-day exemption this year, including Matthew Stafford, Justin Coleman, Kenny Galladay, and TJ Hawkinson. All of those guys had positive tests. Now, I know some people think that Stafford's test was a false positive. However, Dr. Sills, the NFL chief medical officer, labeled it a unconfirmed positive, which is not the same as a false positive. It's more consistent with an isolated true positive. So most likely he did get a 90-day exemption as well. 2 other guys, Isaac Nauta and Oruwariye, also were on the COVID list early in training camp. It's not confirmed if they were positive or not, but there's a decent chance they were. Those guys all went on the list in early August. Now it's early November, so those guys are all gonna start getting tested in the next few days, if not already. So keep an eye out for those guys. Feel free to leave comments on my YouTube channel or find me on Twitter at JimmyLiaoMD. Thanks.
Oh, welcome back. Thank you, Dr. Jimmy Liao, for putting all that together for us. Really appreciate you and what you do for the Detroit Lions on the Prowl. And go check out his YouTube and subscribe to that too. He's really got some good information over there. So now we're going to go into the main course. All right, Kurt, let's eat.
Let's get it.
All right, the trade deadline went through and we did absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
And I think my take on this is, okay, Bob Quinn, you can't be a seller when no one wants to buy. You can't be, because Pittsburgh, we had a thing there with Jarrad Davis, but they got someone else, Avery Williamson.
Yeah, Avery Williamson from the Jets. So that trade was not going to happen. Marvin Jones, you're not going to trade now because of the Galladay injury. Yep.
I don't think you could get a bag of footballs for Kerryon Johnson at this point, so that was going to happen. But I also think that Bob Quinn, I'm not sure. I mean, he gave up a 6th round for Everson Griffin, but in my opinion, I don't think he could get rid of any more assets. He only had draft picks to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. And Kenny Galladay's injury prevented him from being traded if that was going to be an option for the team. So they really didn't have much that they could work with through this whole thing. What do you think about the whole home trade deadline?
It's, you know what though, there wasn't any really big deals around the league though. I mean, there was just some.
It was quiet.
There was some small trades. But here's the thing, and I don't know if we're going to be buyers in this market, but there's going to be some key free agents that are going to be some players that really didn't fit schemes earlier in the seasons is going to be released today. So there may be some buyers on that end. I know Jonathan Joseph, is going to get released by the Titans, and I think one of the defensive linemen is going to be released, or linebacker. The rumors are. So if you look at it, there's going to be some free agents that's going to hit the market again because they didn't fit the schemes.
And I think free agency would be okay because we're not giving up draft capital. We're only using this year's money. But let me tell everybody though, next year's salary cap is going to go down quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
It's projected to be 175 million, where this year was 198 million.
Yeah.
So by that, we're behind already.
Yeah, the loss of revenue from the stadium is what's driving that. It's gonna, you don't have that that extra revenue to share, and so that definitely is gonna make the salary cap go down.
Yeah.
There's a few things that's gonna drive that too. There is one thing that is definitely going to be coming up for next season, and it hasn't been settled. That's going to affect the salary cap as well. Is that there are 2 TV deals that are out there that hasn't been settled. The Sunday Night Football deal hasn't been settled as well. So they may ABC and Disney are bidding to get Monday Night Football back on their airways. And one thing is that DirecTV is maybe looking at dumping off the Sunday ticket. So those are revenue shares. You're looking at both of those contracts are over $1 billion a piece, and that would definitely affect the salary cap going forward for next year.
I think they made an agreement though that it was going to be a flat cap for the next 4 years or something like that,
because
so
it
doesn't go down too much.
This COVID thing really, and until they can get something a hold of it, I don't even think that we'll be at capacity in the stadiums next season as well. I think I want
to get your take on this too. So we're talking about the complete rebuild, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any chance this team makes the playoffs? They're 3-4. They're not out of it yet. In fact, they are in the hunt according.
Yeah, they're in the hunt at 3, even at 3-4. Yeah. I mean, you look at the NFC East. I mean, they'll be first place.
The NFC least. Yeah, you hear me? Is the NFC least?
I mean, they'll be in first place. Yeah, the least. But they're in the hunt. Do I think they'll make the playoffs? They have a shot. Do I think they'll make a deep run in the playoffs? They don't have the. I mean, even with some guys coming back, I just don't think they have that firepower on the outside. With the on either side of the
defensive problem.
That's some of the defensive. Their secondary still has some issues. Even though I like the additions of J-Ron Curse and him being a big body back there playing that kind of viper role, where he plays a big safety, small linebacker type of deal. But the coverage is just still lacking.
It really is.
They don't know how to communicate with each other back there when they're switching from zone to man. It's just and then some of them aren't really that adept to playing man by themselves. So it's just a big thing. You can't win games if you can't stop anyone. We've learned that lesson plenty of times in the NFL, where you just can't outscore teams and expect to win. We went through that in the various channels, that run and shoot era, where we would just putting up points, but we couldn't go deep, couldn't stop anybody. So but that's my thing. Do I think it's going to be a complete rebuild? There's a rebuild coming. I've been wrong on this before, but I will say this: it will be some type of rebuild. I don't know if it's a complete rebuild. They may just replace the chassis, but it's going to be some kind of rebuild coming in Detroit.
Oh, all right. So that's my take on this whole thing. Is I believe there's going to be a rebuild. It's close if they make the playoffs or not. And if the mandate says they just have to be close to making the playoffs and not actually make the playoffs, and it's a significant increase from last year, which was 3-12, that's 12-1, correct? That's not hard to do.
No.
If we get to 8 wins and we're an 8-8 team, I think Patricia and Quinn may stay.
That's gonna be tight. That's not gonna go over well with the fan base, just because there's so many people calling for those heads. Looking at that, you wanted the team to go, okay, if you go 10-6, that may be, but do better than 9-7, because a lot of fans are gonna say, well, you fired Jim Caldwell in a 9-7. He had 2 back-to-back 9-7 seasons, and you fire him. So what's the deal with this? The guy goes 3-12-1, then he goes, he goes 8-8. How is that an improvement? How are you going to justify?
It's actually a big improvement. Honestly.
Actually, it is, but it's not. If you look at the criteria
I know.
for firing the other guy,
it's a weird situation because the mandate says you got to be competitive, and you got to have a vast improvement, which I think 8-8 is a vast improvement over.
I mean, it is.
But we're backing in the playoffs to be totally pummeled by a number 1 team. That's exactly what's going to happen.
If we win 4 games, if we win one more game from last season, if we win one more game if we win this week, that's an improvement, because we won 4 games instead of 3.
We won 4 instead of 3. So if we win one more game this year,
that's an improvement. It's not a vast improvement.
Drastic improvement.
So
I don't know about this. I don't want to beat it to death, but it's just a lot of things right now. We're way early to be calling for this, but I think fans have been calling for his head since game 1.
Man, they've been calling for his some of the, especially over the guys over in the DSA, they've been calling for him.
I know.
They've been calling for his head since last season.
First year.
Yeah. So they didn't want him. They didn't want him hired.
All right, Kurt. I like this segment a lot. You know that.
Yeah,
it's time for
we got to do it
with Kurt.
Hey, here is an interesting fact. I actually found it today. Shout out to Michael Rothstein for finding this factoid for us and sharing it with us. It is from Clay Martin. Clay Martin is the referee from this Sunday's game. And the question was, in the pool report, the question is, can you explain the unnecessary roughness call on Detroit's Danny Shelton after his sack in the second quarter? Martin seemed to explain, he said, I had blown the play dead for forward progress where I thought the quarterback would stop, and then I felt that 71 Shelton unnecessarily continued on him, and at about that time I was processing that the scrum starts, so my attention went immediately to breaking up the contest, the chaos, if you will, and I threw my flag late, but the flag was for number 71 for necessary roughness after my whistle blew for forward progress. So,
and he didn't think that the other people that were pushing our guys around had anything to do with that.
So he said one follow-up question. He said, so Shelton continued with the play and when he should have stopped. And he said, that was my ruling. Yes, that's why I threw the flag.
Okay. Don't like it, but okay.
I don't like it, but I can kind of understand what he's saying.
And I understand where you have to go and you have to go in and clean up the fight first and then throw the flag, because that's your first responsibility, is to player safety.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing you have to do. I get that, but I don't like the call, because I think that there was other things out there that they were doing as well after the whistle, that it should have been offsetting penalties.
Yeah, I believe that as well. It just the timeliness of the flag brings into question even that, where fans would be like, man, what? Get out of here. You could have threw that, because
that and the PI and holding call that they picked up was ridiculous too. Yeah,
it was something that was but as Lions fans, we've been through that so many times with them picking up flags against us. It is not a Detroit versus everybody, and especially the refs.
It is.
But that's a dessert for the day, man. Yum, yum, yum. You know what I'm saying? We got to eat that up. And
yes, we do.
I'll be back tomorrow with some more sweet morsels in the dessert section.
And I'm glad today wasn't vegetables, because we've been having that
not vegetables today.
So, a question of the day for everyone out there: what identity would you like the Lions to have if we have a complete rebuild? Like a run first team, tough defense, air it out offense, Honestly, I'm going to answer this question because I'm the one that put it out there. I want a run first, tough defense team. I want to be able to run the ball right up the middle, right down your throat, and you can't do anything about it.
Yep.
I also want to be able to stop the run. I want a ferocious defense, kind of like Sue. Yes, we are going to get penalties. Yes, we will. But eventually we will actually settle in and be like the Raiders. Because the Raiders they got away with murder just because of the fact that that's who they were. Yep. Same thing with the bad boys at the Pistons, and I think that that's the team that I want here in Detroit. The hard hat, the go to work, the tough, Detroit folks. So I think that's what I want here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want a team that can run the ball, control the clock, and have a good play action pass game, and a good run stuffing defense, and guys that can get after the quarterback and stop the run at the same time.
Yep.
And if you look at the philosophy of the Colts, I hate to bring it up, but their defensive philosophy is stop the run on the way to the passer, and that's what we need to have.
Exactly. Totally agree with that. Yeah. All right. You know what? Thank you for rocking with us. We're going to have this as a premiere, and I'm glad that you're all watching it with us and having a good time. We really appreciate you, and I love answering questions and talking back and forth with each and every one of you. Thanks for rocking with us. Please subscribe and hit the little bell thing, and also like the video. We have so many people that come in and watch the video. Please give us a thumbs up. It really helps, so I appreciate you doing that. All right, Kurt, take us home.
Hey, thank you again for watching the show. If you made it all the way to this point, you're at the end, and you've helped improve our YouTube algorithm to get this content to more Lions fans just like yourself. And like Jim said, subscribe to the channel, give us some likes. We appreciate your comments. Click the notification bell so you know when you're getting fresh content from us right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. For my man Jim, this is Kurt Steele of Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Whatever you do in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. And we will holler at you real soon.